Hello everyone, thank you for tuning in, and this is a video for this month of January 2026. So this is a month that is about time and good use of time because Saturn is time, and time management and how we plan our plans for the best use of our time is now up for review in January because there is a stellium, a group of planets in the sign of Capricorn. Plus, there is a full moon in Cancer here at 13 degrees. Yeah, and then the polarity of the sign of Capricorn and Cancer. Plus, there's going to be a new moon at 28 here of Capricorn. That's going to be on the 18th of January in the middle of the month. So all this, it's Saturn, isn't it? Saturn, Capricorn new moon linked to Saturn. By the way, this new moon is going to be sextiling Saturn itself. Now we have 4 planets in Capricorn ruled by Saturn. Right, and then there's this full moon. Yeah, I already said that is in Cancer on the opposite side of Capricorn. And the full moon in Cancer is actually now because today is the 3rd of January 2026. 2026, which is a new year, so happy new year to you. And most of all, let's hope that everyone is going to have good health, as health is wealth, isn't it? So this full moon is conjunct a fixed star that is called Sirius, because if you see like 1 hour after this full moon on my map here, moon is conjunct Sirius. The moon is at 13, so it's going towards this fixed star called Sirius. So anyhow, the moon is conjunct Sirius now at this full moon. Sirius is about ambition, pride, emotionality, fame and wealth. Fame and wealth. So this sounds lucky, all these things. So that's why this fixed star is a good star. It's called a shining one. It's said to be the brightest star. And then also it's the nature of Jupiter and Mars. Yeah, and it's called the mouth of the greater dog, if that speaks to you. If you have any planet, around this 13 of Cancer, some of these themes and words probably speaks to you. I know, like, I have my moon around here and Mars, and it does speaks to me, so that's why I'm saying this. So overall, transits such as lunation, such as a full moon or a new moon, transit mark the culmination of activity, not the commencement of an activity. And because the Cancer Capricorn axis is linked to real estate, housing, security. So in Capricorn, it's the outer world that brings us security. And in Cancer, it's more about inner security. Cancer also represents the 4th house of the home and our family. And Capricorn, it's the 10th house of career, status, and reputation. and climbing the ladder for Capricorn. For Capricorn moon, for example, climbing the ladder, obtaining some kind of status, feels more secure than nurturing inner feelings and nurturing what's going on inside the home, not the actual home and the walls of the home. So that, yeah, so to the Capricorn, it's more about the foundation of your house, for example, the building and the to own the house. And then Cancer, to feel safe, is more concerned about like the energy inside the home, the feelings inside the home, like you know what I mean, like to live in harmony and, yeah, feel good feelings inside your house. This is more like Cancer. Capricorn moon will be like, well, at least we have a nice home, and so we should feel secure. But Cancer wants also emotional security. That's what I'm trying to say. So, yeah, Capricorn and the Cancer axis is also linked with gender roles, such as who is the mover, who plays the father, for example, here. And also in our own charts, if someone has love and planets in Cancer and or Capricorn or both, it can also have to do with gender issues of yourself, like in your own personality. For example, if you are like bisexual, or if you are like non-binary, often you can see that by this axis. If you like struggle within yourself to identify to your gender, that you were assigned at birth, these kind of things. And then there's also, like in evolutionary astrology, when you can look at what gender you were in past life and this life. So all these kind of things basically are seen from this axis also of Capricorn and Cancer. Yeah, because nowadays we know that this is ambiguous, and that it's ambiguous because our single mother, for example, she could have been playing the father role, or one's father could also have been a stay-at-home dad, and all these different kind of situations. Maybe the dad was also playing the mom and stuff like that. So it's not set in stone, isn't it, who's gonna be the dad, who's gonna be the mom in 2026, like it used to be like in the old days, where, and if you were a mom, you were expected to just stay at home and cook, like the typical Cancer archetypes. And then if you were the dad, you were supposed to just care about your career and have no feelings and stuff. So we know that this is outdated now. So overall, these topics are what it's in our mind this month. So now we are talking about this full moon in Cancer, which is here at 13. Because it's a full moon, it's opposite the sun at 13 of Capricorn. And also we can see the moon is conjunct with Jupiter in Cancer. And we can see there are 4 planets. Mercury is still behind, but definitely Venus and also Mars are opposite the moon. So this is what's going on now. So at this full moon in Cancer, we are now feeling burdened by responsibilities, certain commitments and duties and realities. While we would rather listen to our emotions and do what we feel like doing. Yeah, and especially if your moon is in Cancer, then you might want to stay cozy indoors right now, this early January, this weekend. You might prefer to stay indoors. Everyone in anywhere now, because it's the full moon Cancer. So in general, this is what the mood is We would rather stay indoors at processing our inner world. But we don't have time to do that because there's all this opposition, this stellium, this weight, all these things we have to do in Capricorn. So we don't have time to do what we feel like doing. Yeah. This is also the culmination or completion of an emotional chapter of your life. Something or a relationship with someone is reaching a conclusion, and as a result, it's also an opportunity for a fresh emotional start. As many of your unconscious emotional habits have been highlighted, it is a good time to review and face the reality about what makes you feel inwardly secure, and perhaps to release or readjust any unhealthy emotional attachment. So, yeah, emotional attachment. This is all about Cancer, isn't it? With the moon in Cancer. The moon in Cancer is now in tension with the sun, as in every full moon. The moon is opposite the sun. So, there is not two sides pulling on a string. An heavy duty stellium in Capricorn, but the moon has some backup also because she's with Jupiter. And not only the moon is strong because she's in her own sign in Cancer, what's called she's in domicile in her home. She's ruling this house. So she's in control of her house. So she's resourceful now. You know, she can still do what she has to do. And not only that, but she's with Jupiter, who also is extremely strong in Cancer. You know, as it's been said many times that Jupiter is exalted, you know, in Cancer. So, and now he's coming to his exaltation point where he's going to be very soon even stronger. And then when he's going to be about to change direction, it's going to get even stronger because it will be nearly at a standstill. You know, so anyhow, long story short, the thing is that, yeah, although we have all this weight, but we can deal with it emotionally because the moon is, you know, she can handle it. So it's more like a push and pull, isn't it? Both sides are pulling away from each other. So what does this mean then? The Cancer moon is moody, like its symbol of the crab. The Cancer moon likes to withdraw into its comfy, cozy, hidden cocoon. She likes to privately process her emotions in order to recharge its social battery. And then when it feels nurtured again and it feels safe enough to go back out in the social world, then the moon will come back out of a shell. Yeah, and so now we would like to stay cozy, and we might stay cozy, but this isn't it, is in the back of our mind, all these things that we have to attend to. And a moon in Cancer represents the common people, and the sun in Capricorn can show leaders, politicians, people or in authority, or also the government, any old and traditional institutions and systems, you know, like the patriarchy, like the way things have always been done, about like what our grandfathers told us, you know, this tradition. All this is Capricorn. And people with the moon in Cancer often have a strong connection to their mother, for better or worse. depending if you have the moon in Cancer, depending how aspected it is. But in any case, you'll be close to your mother. So now, topic to deal with motherhood are also highlighted with our families. All these feelings, and no wonder, because after Christmas, a lot of people had to spend time with family, and if you didn't spend time with family, obviously you were thinking about the fact that you were not with your family. So all this, it's of the season to process our feeling now in January. So yeah, and so it's also hard to break the bondage, with your mom if the moon is in Capricorn, especially if, let's say, your moon is aspected with Pluto, then the link to your mom is very powerful. But in any case, the moon in Cancer is protective, and she can take good care of feeding and housing her offsprings. She's instinctively resourceful. However, the moon in Cancer can also be smothering, needy, oversensitive, but she's intuitive and creative. So then we also have to look at this sun in Capricorn, because now the sun is in between Venus and Mars, which again brings relationships topics now. Yeah, and the full moon is, yeah, so that means that the full moon is opposing Mars, and we are feeling this opposition strongly, because as you can see, the moon is at 13, Mars is at 14. So the moon is actually applying, going towards Mars. Like when she's full of power, full of feelings, and then bang, she's going to collide into Mars. So Mars in Capricorn at 14 degrees. Yeah, Mars in Capricorn is also, so I said the moon is strong in Cancer with Jupiter, and Mars in Capricorn is also strong against the moon. So it's as if there is like a showdown. We need to do both sides equally, a bit of Capricorn and a bit of Cancer. So it's about finding balance, how to nurture our feelings and keep the ball rolling on our long-term goals, on our long-term plans at the same time. This is what we are trying to balance at this time. Mars in Capricorn is disciplined, tenacious, and he accomplishes his goals with strategy and a strong drive to reach the finish line. Because Capricorn is ruled by Saturn, with Mars in Capricorn, there is a need to take control. Otherwise, we will be controlled. Take control or be controlled. Often astrologers talk about Mars Saturn or Mars in Capricorn. Like this, like if you have Mars square Saturn, often you can hear that it's good to be, for example, a police agent, a police officer. So that's true, but I've also seen the other side of the coin. That is such person with a Mars in Capricorn, or someone who has a Saturn Mars aspect in their chart. I also seen some people like that who actually themselves are being imprisoned. Themselves received a jail sentence. So yeah, keep that in mind. Is that either you will exert control in your life, or someone will do it to you. Um, Mars is exactly conjunct the Sun on the 9th of January. So you can see it here, 9th of January. I have saved this as, yeah, Mars is at 19, Sun is at 19, and Venus. So the point is why I'm showing this is because when the planet is exactly conjunct the Sun, yeah, when the planet is exactly, or it's within 1 degree, or some astrologer says within 17 minutes of the Sun, then the planet is stronger. It's boosted by the Sun's rays. So the point is that now Venus and Mars, they are boosted. They are Casimir. When Mars is going to move further away, more than 1 degree away, down to Capricorn, Mars is still going to stay strong. That's what I'm saying. It's not going to be burned up by the Sun's ray. So because Mars is exalted in Capricorn, it is not going to lose its strength, and it is not going to be combust. It's going to be instead in what we call a chariot. So for you to understand, I saved this. You can see here, according to ancient astrology by Demetra George, medieval astrologers considered a planet to be combust when it was within 12 degrees on either side of the Sun. When a planet is combust, it is said to be burned up by the rays of the Sun. Therefore, these planets are said to be in a weaker state the closer they get to the Sun. Right, so if you want, you can pause and read everything. The point now is that there is a mitigating factor, and that a planet is protected from being under the beams or combust. This is called chariot, and it occurs when a planet is in its own domicile or exaltation. You see what I mean? So Mars is exaltation. So the point is Mars is very strong now this month. Mars exalted Mars exalted is similar to, I don't know if you've seen it, Asterix and Obelix, the cartoon, with the magical potion. And the story is that Obelix fell in the magic potion when he was a little boy. And if you've seen this cartoon, they get super strength. They get strong powers, physical powers. Like they can lift rocks, beat armies. So all type of things. After they drank this magic potion. But Obelix, the one who is the strongest, he is so because he fell into the magic potion marmite when he was a child. So he is naturally strong at all time. Therefore, Asterix and Obelix is a good analogy for Mars in Capricorn. So there is a packed Capricorn stellium to entangle here. And Capricorn is a nerve sign, and Capricorn Cancer, this axis is cardinal. They are cardinal sign. So now action is being initiated. We are investing extra work on building new foundations or on maintaining the existing structures of our lives. So we are trying to keep what we have, or we are building something new. We are building structures that make us feel inwardly and outwardly secure. Also, Mars is going to oppose Jupiter, and that's exact here on the 10th of January. 20 for Mars and 20 for Jupiter. This is about overconfidence, so we have to be aware, not to think that we can do more than we can actually do. So yeah, overconfidence of what can be done, or also it could be disagreements because of belief battles. Some situation could break if everyone thinks that they are right and others are wrong. So as usual with an opposition, it's all about compromising and seeing things from another's perspective. And also that day, so now we are on the 10th of January. That day is also triggering because the moon is there at 19. And you see that there is Chiron at 22, and then literally 3 planets, Mars, Sun, Venus, going to square Chiron, and the moon is activating this square. So, and then on top of that, it's opposing Jupiter, which is going to magnify this uh, cardinal square. When we are pulled in 4 directions, basically, and it's painful when there is Chirons, because our vulnerabilities and our wants, they are being triggered. And before the 10, on the 7th of January, there would have been already a conjunction with Venus and Mars. And then soon after that, Venus is going to move into Aquarius on the 17th of January. And after that, she will conjunct with Pluto on the 19th of January. So what does all this means? We can think that Venus is your resources and your relationships. That's one of the things that it represents. So the question is, what are you willing to commit to in order to achieve your goal? Who are you willing to commit to? Bear in mind that Venus is about giving and not taking. And also we can think about the word sacrifice, as we have to release jealousy and release the illusion that love is to possess another. We have to release abuse and manipulation, envy, power games. We have to also release anger and greed. And with Venus Pluto, we can remind ourselves that the greater the power of something, the greater the danger. Venus Pluto is about fated love, big money, business, and intensity. Intensity in love. The love of intensity, the power of love, and the love of power. So with this cardinal square, right, the moon is here, Chiron is here, and Jupiter is here, and there's 3 planets at 2021, all going into Chiron, and the moon is triggering, right, and Jupiter is expanding. So with this cardinal grand square, all our wounds are coming up to the surface to be acknowledged. And then hopefully, if we have the courage, to look within ourselves for the source of our pains, then we can heal some of it. Now we are on the 18th of January, and it's this new moon in Capricorn at 28th of Capricorn. So there we feel the Capricornian energy even more. And then, like I've said before, we have yeah, there's still 4 planets in Capricorn. So this is all within the same time frame that there has been a conjunction with Venus and the Sun, Venus and the Sun, Venus and Mars, and the Sun and Mars. So all within the same time frame. And so this means that both Venus and Mars are beginning again in the sign of Capricorn. And that there is a lot of quietly, you know, quietly being processed energy. A lot is being reviewed right now. And then Venus still has to cross over Pluto. Like the renewal of love. Something is going to be shed, and then something new will be reborn in love and relationships. So the astrology of this time is showing us that there is no going back, because not only all these planets have been renewed by the sun, and now they are going to cross over Pluto. So this is the time when we see what's been brewing in the background for the last 2 years, and this is finally about to come into manifestation, isn't it? Because Capricorn has to do with a tangible manifestation, plan in concrete. So yeah, and that's going to be from now on until for all of 2026 that things are going to finally start to take shape. And also this new moon is ruled by Saturn, who is here at 27 of Pisces. And it's a good sign because Saturn is doing a sextile to this new moon. So a sextile, there is an opportunity. When there is a sextile in water and earth signs, it means that we have to create the opportunity. Like when there's a sextile, for example, in fire and air, often it's something that just comes to you and you just have to take it. But yeah, in water and earth, if you observe for yourself, often there is an opportunity, but you still have to go and create it yourself. But it's out there. A sextile is out there for the taking. Compare for a trine, it's more like something is literally gonna come and fall on your laps. With the sextile, you have to reach out with your hand and take it. So it's not much different. It's still a good energy. So that means that with the sextile and Saturn, Neptune aspecting this new moon, we can start something new in the real world. Yeah, and then because this new moon is in Capricorn, again, we have to emphasize the sign of Capricorn, which this energy is about, seriousness, discipline, being grounded in reality. At worst, it can be unforgiving and cruel, unwilling to budge. It's also about commitment, wherever we have this house or any planet in Capricorn in our chart is where we take things seriously. And yeah, it's about your legacy also, and ambition, the need to develop how to gain authority in this area of your life, how to master your craft in order to obtain your greatest goal. This is all to do about with Capricorn. So yeah, and we know that Capricorn is ruled by Saturn, which Saturn is critical now at the end of the sign of Pisces, and Saturn is about to meet with Neptune. Saturn is approaching this conjunction with Neptune. So it's kind of strange because like we want to build something new in reality, and then at the same time, because Saturn is moving towards Neptune, our sense of like not just our sense, our reality is also kind of dissolving. So we want to build something strongly based in reality, but what used to be reality is dissolving. So because Saturn is heading towards Neptune, what we relied on since a long time ago, and what we thought of as long lasting and stable, that what was in this Capricorn house of our chart, this is not resting on solid ground anymore. Things that used to be long lasting are now collapsing. Mm. And then on the 26th of January, Neptune will finally enter Aries, and I think I have done a article on my website about it, which I will put the link in the description, about Neptune in Aries. So yeah, it's finally going to leave on the 26th of this month. And this is when we will be moving forward onto the new beginning that will come in February, when the Neptune and Saturn conjunction happens at 0 degrees of Aries, which is a world point of action and initiation. So actually, this is probably better than the new moon, to do your New Year's resolutions, for example. Or also when the sun will enter Aries, that's also the actual new year, where it really feel like the beginning. Because, for example, like me, I'm in England in the United Kingdom, and now it's snowing, so yeah, it feels more like, it doesn't feel like a new beginning, it's winter. At that time, so let me show you at that time. Mm-mm. Yeah, what? First, now we have. So, there you go. I mean, now we're 14th of February, but you see 00 Saturn and Neptune in Aries. At that time, the burden of Saturn will be lifted when it goes into Aries. So, which is about like under 2 months from now. So, until then, we can, with discipline, we can complete what has now become clear that it needs to be worked on, until we can finally get some closure on that day onwards. For example, if you have wanted to leave your job, you might need, those extra 6 weeks to prepare yourself before jumping onto being full-time, self-employed. Same, if you're planning to leave a relationship, like now it's like using these few weeks to be organized and preparing for our plan and how we're gonna start over. So there won't be any more blockage or confusion. So if it feels like it's dragging on for too long, then you can count on those days, you know, that you will finally find some kind of joy again. Because a lot of people are being burdened by this Saturn that's at the end of Pisces. Yeah, and there we will be entering new territory. And in terms of evolutionary cycles, we are about to enter a whole new world. Going back to today. Uh, where is it? And Neptune is here also. Neptune is always about dreaming, inspiration, enchantment, ideals, and purification. Neptune always wants to dream about the ideal of whatever sign it's in. And Neptune in Pisces was a dream of boundless compassion and unconditional acceptance. To let things in, to open our borders, to you know to yeah, to let others in more easily, to like be more willing to be compassionate to more people, like sacrifice. That's the word I'm seeking. Neptune in Pisces was about sacrifice. And Neptune starts with the idealized vision of something, and at the end there is a sense of delusionment when reality sets in. So sadly, it's that, but like with Neptune, everyone wants to believe in the dream and that everyone's going to be compassionate, and love everyone. But sadly, if anyone observes astrology and then you see Neptune transit, more than likely it's going to end up on some disappointment. At best, disappointment. Because at worst, it could be like fraud. It could be someone that actually is nothing like you thought they were. Things like that. The perfect love that ends in heartbreaks and tragedy. That's Neptune. So yeah, now we are at the last pass of this Saturn Neptune at the end of Pisces. And once this cycle comes to Aries, that's it, we will get what we get. So now, really, this last few weeks, this is the final kind of exam in this area of our life and in the houses of our chart, ruled by Saturn, which is Capricorn, and also in this case, in the Pisces house as well of our chart. There is also Mercury, which we should not forget, that at this new moon on the 18th, Mercury would already have opposed Jupiter. And there you see it's conjunct with Mars. So that is all about, we have to be careful, what we say. Because it's in Capricorn, it's not going to be the worst, because in Capricorn, Mercury is still going to be able to kind of like, stay serious and not open his mouth like as much as, it's not like when he was in Sagittarius that anything could have come out of our mouth. But in Capricorn, with Mars opposing Jupiter and Mercury, words can be cutting still. It's like penetrating words. So we have to maybe be careful. Yeah, just don't go and just say anything that cross your mind. Just, be careful what you say to people because it could be hurtful. You could just, with Jupiter and Mercury, what we say, it's also we could be over optimistic in our speech, like over promise, say we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that, and then we can't deliver. Or it could be a big argument. So yeah, be mindful. And then also on the 21st, 20th of January, Mercury is going to be Casimir in Aquarius at zero of Aquarius. So when it's zero of a sign, that means the sign is felt, uh, yeah, that's the basic essence of a sign. And then when you think that after that, you can see that soon after, Mercury is going to conjunct with Pluto, then so we can think that some powerful new information is going to come through. You know, maybe something out of the box. Yeah, so some important information is going to come out. Maybe we will have a powerful idea, powerful speech. But then it's good because Mercury is going to conjunct with Venus, and this is very auspicious. So the end of this short journey here for Mercury, we can say is going to end well. Right. Now, as you can see, we are on the 23rd of January. Everything moved out of Capricorn, the Sun, Mercury, Venus, and Mars, and Pluto. Everyone is in Aquarius. Aquarius is about connecting, communicating, socializing, being revolutionary, revolting, acting out of the box, like being an eccentric. Uh, it's about the future, technology, groups of people, and yeah, humanitarian groups of people, humanitarian causes. So now Mars is going to be in Aquarius. Mars is about war and attack. Wherever Mars goes, it's going to bring some conflict, yeah, and disagreement, some problems. At best, is going to be the opportunity to solve the problems. So with Mars in Capricorn, Mars in Aquarius, Aquarius like a group of people, and then Mars being attacking a group of people. So maybe friends, groups of friends that argue, those kind of things. This is where Aquarius is, and then Mars in Aquarius. And then I'm saying this because Mars is going to conjunct with Pluto on the 27th of January. So, and before that, we can see that also the Sun, and then, like I said before, about Venus and Mercury also will have crossed over Pluto. And then, yeah, the Sun will have recently crossed over Pluto, which is about control issue manipulation that's being highlighted. Uh, yeah, so So what this is about this Mars conjunction with Pluto, you'll be most affected. It's going to into a difficult way. You're going to be most challenged by this if you have any planets or your ascendant or your midheaven in the Taurus, Leo, or Scorpio in the five first degrees of these fixed signs, because you will be opposed or you will be squared. If you're a Gemini and you have your anything in the first 5 degrees, or a Libra, then you'll be empowered by this. In any case, it's going to help you to move forward. So with Pluto at this moment in time, who is in Aquarius, we have to remind ourselves that Pluto tends to attract quiet, influential, controlling, and intense individuals in a network of people in the Aquarius house of our chart. There is a change in the psychology of the group. The way that you all together and the game that you play together. So the way that you are together and the dynamics within the group. All this is being affected by Pluto. And there could be some role switch and shift of responsibilities as well. You will become more powerful depending on your own willpower because of this new group of people. Amongst with, they are some of your old friends, but also new friends. So in the house of your chart where you have Aquarius, this is what the Pluto is bringing, these dynamics within groups and change within groups about who is empowered and who is losing power. And also we are seeing like corruptions between any kind of groups, anything that has at least 3 people. Now we are seeing all the shady stuff that was going on in those groups with Pluto in Aquarius. And now it's a good time to remind ourselves that we can be of service to ourselves and others because we genuinely want to, or we choose to, and not out of a need to be controlling and hurt each other. So with the Mars Pluto, which is coming to be exact on the 27th, you see it. We have to talk about this Mars Pluto because this is like quite important because a lot of us are going to be triggered if it, like I said earlier, touches on your chart, or if you have this in your own birth chart, it's going to be triggered, ignited. Doesn't matter if you have in opposition or square or whatever, you're going to feel this Mars Pluto more than others. So with Mars Pluto, you can use this energy to achieve the impossible, to have the courage to stand up for yourself and to break free from any situation where you felt oppressed, controlled, or manipulated. However, it's important to watch out for irrational, violent thoughts that might well cross your mind. And remember that acting on anger now, around the 27th of January, acting on anger now can only lead you to self-destruct. If you have the self-control to feel and admit to yourself where the anger really comes from, then you can find a constructive remedy to it. However, it's a painful process where a toxic way of being or a situation may have to be voluntarily removed from your life. This aspect can cause a lot of damage if it's triggering you. by square or opposition. So you have the choice to choose to be a hero and not a villain, basically. Can use this extra boost of energy, for the greater good. Or otherwise, you or someone else or both most likely is going to be hurt. And with Mars Pluto, the volatility can also come from other people in your surroundings. So even if you have self-control, you have to be mindful of people in your environment. So yeah, myself, I have Mars square Pluto. So when it gets triggered, I do like keep to myself, and I only go out to the gym to lift heavy weight, and I do walk a lot with loud music, and this helps to release angry feelings and to do so safely. So yeah, in any case, it's best to wait a couple of days before making any important decision or having any conversation, because with Mars Pluto you might regret it 2 days later. But also with Mars Pluto you can get a lot of self-control. So it's not all negative, like you can't just look at one aspect and say make conclusion about someone. For example, Bruce Lee, the karate guy, the actor, he has, I think, Mars square Pluto. I think Muhammad Ali has square Pluto. Many people have Mars Pluto, and they are doing perfectly fine. So, it doesn't mean it's just about how you are channeling this lot of energy that you have within yourself. Because when this aspect is triggered, it's because you have to be aware that there is a animalistic part of your brain. I think it's called the amygdala that's being activated. And so that's why the danger is that when you're calm, it's easy to think, yeah, I'm gonna stay calm. But then when that thing is switched on, it's unconscious. So what when you know it, you can prepare for it. On this is on the 27th of January. And finally, we have to talk about Jupiter. As you can see on the left, this is the full moon of the 3rd of January. On the right, this is the new moon of the 18th of January, which I've spoken about. Here, Jupiter is aspecting all these planets in Capricorn. And then here also, you see all this line, Jupiter is aspecting all these planets too. In any case, Jupiter is there in Cancer, moving towards its exaltation point. I'm not sure if I said, but yeah, Jupiter is only getting stronger and stronger now. So Jupiter is still holding things together, and it's about to be in full strength. In the midst of all these changes and dissolving of what used to be static, we have tools and opportunities to take care and to repair the relationships which still have a potential to evolve, because Jupiter is keeping us safe from the worst breakdowns, and it also restores our faith in certain people's goodness. In your life, Jupiter could be a teacher, a therapist, a mentor, your uncle, a benefactor, who is revealing to you that the truth isn't hidden to punish you. It is hidden to protect you until you are strong enough to bear it. People project their own darkness onto public leaders and famous individuals. They do so to avoid admitting to themselves that the most extraordinary darkness exists within themselves. It's more convenient to make oneself believe that monsters and demons are controlling the world rather than acknowledge that human and animal sufferings are caused by ourselves and our neighbors, by all our human greed and consciousness, numbness, coldness, and lack of concern for other human beings. For some, it's easier to blame someone else than to face the ways they betrayed themselves and that they betray themselves on a daily basis. So, to conclude, Jupiter is a good reminder that the enemy is always within the self. The enemy is never out there. God is within us. There is no enemy. There is no escape from the system. There is only seeing. There is only the way of study, Jupiter. There is only the way of study to know God. So thank you to have stayed until the end of this video. I'm very grateful for your subscribing. Thank you for liking. Thank you for sharing my video. And I hope that you got something useful out of this video, and I will do another one before February. And if I can help you in any case, you can go on my website and I have a ask a question service. Here you can ask me a question and I will answer you within 2 days. If you need something faster, you can email me here at my email. And then let me know, send me your name, send me your question, and then I can see if I can answer you faster. If you need to know when you'll find a job, when you'll find love, when your pain is going to end, anything, any question, I'll be happy to help you. And you can check also my other services. If you don't have a birth chart, you can order one from my website, and you can even order the picture of your birth chart and other things as well. And there's also my book list where I have my information from, what book I've read. You can check this out here. And yeah, thank you so much for watching, and then I wish you to have a great month, and then take care, and bye for now.